More apples here on Perfect Pork Pairings tonight. Manitoba pork and Susan Reese onto maple cider chops with
apples.
apples.
Yeah.
So you've already got something cooking here.
Yeah, so we've got our center cut pork chops, extra lean, of course, just a little bit of a fat cap on the outside, which you want because that's going to add flavor.
Don't cut that off.
No, don't cut that off. A little bit of fat is good, right? And so we've been browning them already. You want to brown them about 3 to 4 minutes aside. You don't have to cook them all the way through.
Yeah, these never take very long, this cut.
Yeah. So we'll just turn them over.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Already. Looking good.
Grab it. There we go. And yeah, we would let these cook, again, like 3 to 4 minutes each side. You also want to brown the edges as well. So the browning part takes a little bit of time, but that's going to add flavor to the dish because we're going to add some stuff to this pan after. And so those little brown bits and just like that caramelization from cooking the chops is going to add flavor.
And we haven't even gotten to the deglazing part. We will in a second. When you talk about browning the edges, okay, so you actually just hold it up
I just hold it like this.
Okay.
And then, yeah,
I sometimes try to stand
like this.
stand them up along the side of the
pan.
pan.
Yeah, that never works.
With very
they
limited
always
success.
fall over like dominoes.
They do.
Yeah, but yeah, I just press it down into the pan and it doesn't take very long. So once these are browned on both sides, we're going to deglaze with some, you can use apple cider or apple juice. We're going to use juice, and hopefully it's not going to go splatter all over the place. Stand back.
Stand back.
Yeah, you want to just be careful.
This is a very, very exciting...
Temperamental. This is a very temperamental stovetop.
It's an interesting relationship we've developed with Season 34 cooktop.
And then we've also got a mixture of Dijon mustard and maple syrup. So 2 ingredients that go very well with apples.
And again, I like the different layers of sweet that we're kind of doing along with all of these lovely flavors.
Yeah, and
right?
the tang from the Dijon.
Yeah.
And so then once that's in, we would cover up our pan. And let the and yeah, you're not wearing the apron. And we would let those cook for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then you would remove them to a plate. The sauce is going to start like cooking down a little bit too, but what you're essentially going to be left with is this. And so this is what we're going to be cooking our apples in. So if you want to slice the apples, Des.
Now, are the kinds of apples we use, because we talked about that in the last recipe that we did, is this like how important is it to be picky about which apples?
Again, I like the red skin just because it adds that nice pop of color, right? There also tend to be a little bit of a sweeter apple versus say a Granny Smith, which is we can use in a different recipe.
I'm probably cutting these a bit thick, so they probably should be a little bit thinner.
Just thin wedges is good. And it's just 1 apple, and again, like the thin skin, because we're leaving the skin on. You don't want a waxy skin like something like a Macintosh or a Red Delicious or something like that.
Don't take the fat off. Don't peel the apple.
Exactly. So then, yeah, you put your apples in, and you let them cook for about 5 minutes, just until they get a little bit soft. And your sauce will also start to thicken up a little bit more as well. If it doesn't, you could always go with a bit of that cornstarch water mixture. Just make a little bit of a slurry, add it a small amount at a time, just to get that sauce nice and thick. And yeah, the apples would cook down, and you would end up serving that over top of your nicely browned chops.
So, because there's a pectin.
The pectin, yeah, in the apple actually will help thicken that.
Right.
But sometimes, maybe you want a little bit more sauce. Maybe you might double like the recipe of the sauce part. So then you would need to thicken because the pectin ratio wouldn't be quite right.
Quite right.
So
yeah. So we've got the cornstarch.
And then when you're serving, if you want to just take it up a little bit and add a pop of color, rosemary pairs really well with this too. This is what I love about cooking, because you can play around with the flavors, right? Thyme works well too, but
what do we? Is it rosemary and thyme in here?
No, just rosemary on this one.
Rosemary. Okay.
Thyme is another option. You can sprinkle that right on the chops, and yeah, and then you've got a delicious, quick weeknight meal.
Okay, and of course we've got this cookbook, Manitoba Pork Cookbook, and this recipe is...
This recipe is going to be in the book. Again, the cookbook's all about affordability and easy to make recipes. Yeah, at like $2 to $3 for a pork chop, like you can't beat that.
Yeah, no, that's a great option. And so where can people get the cookbook? Where is that
The cookbook
available?
will be available. You can just call our office or send us
out
an
the
email
website
at info@manitobapork.com and order a free copy.
Okay, fantastic. And of course, this recipe will be available, Great Taste is available, greattastemb.ca. Another incredible agricultural community when we return here on Great Taste of Manitoba.
We appreciate you, whether you're new to this channel or a long-time viewer. If you'd like to join us in the kitchen regularly and meet farm families across Manitoba, please subscribe. We share new videos every Sunday.